Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present the new Evolution of Man exhibit in our technology wing.
Hello friends, welcome back to my coverage of PlayStation Underground. This time we're looking at Volume 2, Issue 2. This one was released around June 1998 and contains all the usual goodies. Interviews, previews, codes, saves, and of course demos. The theme this time seems to be based on games from England, so we're going to see information about Medieval and Tomb Raider. We've also got a new game development project to check out. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we start with the import section, where we can find demos of games from Japan and other countries. This time the demo is for Hoshi de Hakken, a game based on the Tamagotchi series. Yeah, I bet you forgot about those things, huh? Those tiny games you keep on a keychain, where you raise a little alien pet in real time. Well, they made some console video games about them too. There was one for the Game Boy, and there's also this one for the PlayStation. You play as Mikachu, who is tasked with finding all the Tamagotchi that roam about this land. Once you find one, you must try to coerce it to follow you using one of 4 commands. Each Tamagotchi responds to different commands. Once it's ready to follow you, you lead it back to your UFO, where you can take a picture of the Tamagotchi for your record book. If you've managed to collect a male and female Tamagotchi, you can breed them, creating all kinds of Tamagotchi that can't normally be found out and about. Unfortunately, this game was never localized outside of Japan and China. Next is the debriefing section, where we get to talk with the developers of Medieval.
Hi, I'm Chris Sorrell. I'm producer of Medieval. I've also been involved in the design from the start and quite a bit of the programming as well. The game is an action-adventure. It was inspired by the classic arcade game Ghouls and Ghosts.
My name's Jason Wilson and I'm the lead artist and co-designer along with Chris Sorrell on Medieval.
Throughout the game you're playing a skeletal knight called Sedan Fortescue. He has been risen from the dead by the sorcerer named Zarok, and throughout the game you're pursuing the sorcerer to try and stop him from completely taking over this weird medieval landscape called Gallowmere. The look of the game is quite unique. You know, a lot of games are based around map editor constructed landscapes, kind of fairly rigid, block-like look to it. This is something that we don't have in Medieval. We have curves and skewed geometry all over the place, and buildings at funny angles. The game also has quite a strong sort of RPG theme, the requirement for you to use particular weapons to learn particular strategies, achieving 20 different levels and tackling probably around 50 different characters along the way. And when he was alive, he was the champion of the king of the land and died valiantly in battle. He's quite a goofy looking character, I suppose. The aim with him was to give him a kind of goofy, quirky sort of a look, but at the same time for him to also appear to be the valiant and brave character that he actually is.
A lot of people said to us, why do we want to have a skeleton as the main hero instead of some sort of huge muscle guy with a big gun or Lara Croft or whatever. But we thought it was kind of like silly and different, and we both liked the film Nightmare Before Christmas and other sort of silly sort of horror type stuff. So we set out to do a skeleton and lots of silly things a skeleton would fight.
He's got quite a lot of attack moves, and in these I think he looks quite powerful in that, but at the same time he's got huge floppy feet which make him look a bit sort of clumsy as he runs around. That we're not trying to do a character that's Conan the Barbarian or something. He is a bit alternative. He's a sort of an accidental hero, really.
But I think it's more for people who are grown up and still think they're kids.
Over in the behind the scenes section, we visit the offices of Core Design to learn more about Tomb Raider 3 and Ninja Shadow of Darkness.
We've come to the place that brought Lara Croft to life, Core Design in Derby, England. We're taking you inside to find out how it happened and what's next.
It was conceptualized 5 years ago now. And one of the guys said we want to do a game based on raiding some tombs and kind of going underground and into the world of the pharaohs, and that was something I was always really keen to do. He said, yeah, let's do it. Let's draw some things up, do a style guide, let's see what the character's going to look like. And of course he came back and it was a male character. For 2 months, Lara was male. And then we went down and saw it on screen, and Lara transformed into a female.
Tomb Raider 1 and 2 became worldwide hits, and the console version of Tomb Raider 2 was exclusive to the PlayStation. So what's next?
There will be a movie. The movie's live action. It's with a big movie studio. The great thing is that we get total say and veto over the script and the content and the storyline, which is fantastic. Lara herself will have another game out for Christmas '98. There has been some muted discussion about maybe a sidekick for Lara. Maybe a girl, maybe a boy. There is some discussion, but I'd hate to blow it before it's finalised. It'd be good though, wouldn't it? I think it'd be pretty neat.
What will be in Tomb Raider 3? Core is giving PlayStation Underground subscribers a first look at some footage.
One of the main differences is we're going to give Lara a lot more moves, new vehicles. We've overhauled the 3D engine to make everything faster and in high res. This level is going to be based around London, where you'll start off on the rooftops and then you have to venture down into the sewers and the disused tube train lines that have been closed off. Your ultimate aim of this adventure is to break into a corporate building and steal back an artifact that has been taken from a museum. Laura's been hired to go and find it. We're drawing quite a lot more than what Tomb Raider 2 could, so we can get big expanses of open area, build quite detailed backgrounds. This is Darren. He's going to be doing the main animations for Lara on Tomb Raider 3. At the moment he's working on various new moves for Lara, like crawls. We're trying to give her a knife so she can actually stab things. She's going to use the knife to try and prise certain secret items out from the rock. And as you can see, she grabs the dagger out. It'll be concealed in her leg.
Tomb Raider 3 is being built with some interesting custom tools. Here are 2 of them.
This is the animation editor. It allows us to do all the characters in the game. And here you can see a wireframe form. In the first game, she was made up of around about 350 polygons. And in the second game, we upped her to about 540, just to add more detail, more curves. Actually select and draw small tiles, small textures, and we pick them up and place them on all the polygons to build up Lara's look.
A second tool creates game levels. Here we're watching level designer Heather Gibson build a room with a series of mouse clicks.
And then if you look along this side of the editor, I've got a selection of textures that I can use on this map. We can then go on to apply the textures to these areas. So it's just a matter of popping textures onto the faces that are displayed within the room editor. We can apply a light to the room, change the ambience of that room, change the range and the strength of the light to get that nice moody atmosphere that we've got on most of the levels. And I can actually have a look at this room now if I go into preview and fly around and see how it looks. And also we can trigger all the baddies within this system. So that means that when we place our dogs or cult members within this particular map, I can say that I wanted that dog to attack Lara at a specific point. So I can select the dog and trigger it so that when Lara crosses this trigger point here, the dog becomes activated. It allows the player to run across the trigger and run back into a different area of the map and have the sense that something different's happening because the baddies are still coming through, but they might come through it from a different area. So it always gives you the feeling that they're actually quite clever, that they're working out how to get to you.
As we left, team member Peter Barnard revealed one last thing.
Did you ever wonder what Lara looked like without her clothes on? Bet you wish you hadn't bothered.
Just in case you wanted to learn more about PlayStation in my home country, the Event Centre section answers by visiting nightclubs in London, such as the famous Ministry of Sound.
London's top clubs have more than great music. They have PlayStation. Together, they make for a great night out.
This is the Killers Club where you can come, you can play PlayStation and have a good time, listen to some good music as well.
Everybody knows that it's just a bit of fun at the end of the day.
No, the girls love the PlayStation, man, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think once you actually get the females on them, you know, it's harder to get them to go on there, but once they're on there, then, yeah, you can't get them off.
When the conversation gets dry, you can retire to play a PlayStation.
We went across town to check out another club called the Ministry of Sound. It's new, it's hot, and it has a whole room devoted to PlayStation. Video games fit right in with the club's smoke and light show. Club owners told us that PlayStation helps bring in new people.
is then we have better facilities to offer than other clubs. You know, it just gives them more value for money, being able to play on the PlayStations and see new games that aren't out in the shops and stuff like that, really.
Playing your favorite games in a nightclub is a perfect fit, unless someone's trying to ask you a lot of questions.
I've just lost my game!
Oh, sorry.
We've got 4 more downloadable saves for you in the download station. 3 of them are from Monster Rancher, giving you unique and powerful monsters to use. And the 4th is for Speed Racer, unlocking all the cars. We've got some cool stuff in research and development this time. First we have the start of Project Wormhole, an ongoing series where PlayStation Underground shows us exactly how a game is made, starting with the player-controlled character.
Welcome to the first of a 4-part series on the making of a game called Wormhole.
We're really excited about Project Wormhole. It's something that we came up with to give the subscribers of PlayStation Underground sort of an idea of what goes into developing a game step by step. Another cool thing about Project Wormhole is that we want these subscribers to become involved, to send in your suggestions, and if we like them, then you just might end up seeing your name in the credits.
In the next few minutes, you'll be introduced to some game and 3D design fundamentals. Over the next 3 issues, we'll build a working game together, inviting your suggestions by email. Let's talk about design. If we were building a full game, we'd need to start with a detailed design document spelling out every character, level, and enemy. That's because regular development typically takes dozens of specialists over a year and costs $1 million or more. We'll make a mini game instead, so you can quickly see important fundamentals. Here's our concept. Wormhole will put you behind the wheel of a futuristic vehicle, plunging down a tunnel filled with deadly enemies and obstacles. Dodge them while driving on the floor, walls, and ceiling. Blast your way with high-powered guns or die trying. Next issue, we'll build a special animated world for your driving pleasure. It will be waiting behind these doors.
We can also find 3 new Net Yaroze games here, along with a video talking more about them being award winners in Japan. So let's have a go ourselves, shall we?
Net Yaroze lets you create games on a PC, then play them on a PlayStation. It's helping development talent emerge worldwide.
First we have Little Wing, which is all about making paper airplanes and seeing how far you can get them to fly. The game has helpful tips and practice modes, but it is all in Japanese, so... Next there's Asobu Rakugaki, which I believe translates to Play Doodle. This strange little platformer takes place inside an art book of sorts, as if drawn by a child, making the aesthetic quite interesting indeed. finally, here's hover racing. The best one of the bunch in my opinion. This simple racing game is incredibly addictive and takes inspiration from games such as Wipeout and F-Zero. A new section. This is Alphas, and it's basically a place to show off previews of upcoming games. Here we have previews for NFL Extreme.
No penalties, brutally physical, tons of exaggerated hits, sack the quarterback, flex to the fans, blitz your linebacker, taunt your opponent. I own you. Don't get up, chump. Is that all you got? Welcome to the NFL, baby.
And Cool Borders 3.
Cool Borders 3 features a pretty killer tree run where you have to shoot through these gaps, kind of find daylight. If you don't find daylight, you splat. We really wanted to capture that authentic snowboarding experience. We motion captured riders for all the jumping animations. We've added a powder trail and really tweaked the carving to give you that sensation of just cutting through the snow. There's an all-new avalanche mode in Cool Borders 3. Basically survival of the fittest. See who can make it down the mountain in one piece.
Of course, we also have the Code Archive, bringing a slew of new codes and tips for games. And lastly, the Bulletin. All the other information that doesn't fit anywhere else, such as online info, merchandise, contests, and upcoming issues. Changing from Disc 1 to Disc 2, where we'll find all the demos this issue.
Lower your weapon or be destroyed.
So we start off with the demo for Einhänder. This is a scrolling shoot 'em up by Square that seems to take inspiration from games such as Gradius. The gimmick here is that the player's ship can collect and utilize weapons dropped by enemies. Reviews at release were positive. Many critics commented on the fact that the game, while it didn't really try to be anything more than a traditional scrolling shooter, was just generally a decent game. The fact that there were very few good shoot 'em ups like this on the console at the time probably helped. So there you go. The demo lets you try out a level. For those of you who enjoy Metroidvania games, this next demo's for you. Tomba, or Tombi in Europe. It's about the eponymous pink-haired lad as he attempts to recover his grandfather's bracelet from an evil race of anthropomorphic pigs. Created by an ex-Capcom employee, so you might get a hint of Capcom in this game. Tomba relies on non-linear events to advance the player's progress. When Tomba interacts with a certain character or environmental element, an event may be initiated, in which Tomba is given a task to accomplish, such as overcoming an obstacle of some kind. Upon completing the event, Tomba is given adventure points, which can be used to access more events and unlock specific chests. This game is considered a cult classic, receiving positive reviews on release, being praised for its variety and non-linearity in how the events work. The demo gives you a sizable chunk of the first area. here it is, the demo for Gran Turismo. This game was hyped up immensely back then, but with all the video previews, the reviews, and finally the demo itself. Touted as the real driving simulator, this game took the world by storm with its many licensed cars to drive. The full game had you purchase cars and win races with them to earn credits to buy better cars and tune them up to win harder races. Going back to the original game, it's much more novel now, yet there's something charming about it. The demo gives you a choice of 3 cars for a 2-lap race on the Clubman stage. Next we have the demo for Jersey Devil. We already saw a demo for Jersey Devil back on issue 3 of volume 1, but this demo does show off a different stage. As for the game itself, take a look at my video on issue 3 for my review.
Welcome to New York.
Moving along to the demo for NBA ShootOut 98. Featuring the roster from the NBA's 1997-98 season, we saw the previous game on Disc 2 of Volume 1, The only new thing this game brings is icon cutting, allowing players to control cutters, screens and double teams. Critics could not agree on whether or not this game was better than NBA ShootOut 97, with some claiming it was the best basketball game for its time, while others claimed the gameplay was wildly unbalanced.
Defensive foul. At the line, shooting one. Sean Kemp. Out of bounds. Defensive foul. For two. Nothing but net. Shaquille O'Neal. Grant Hill.
After that, we have the demo for Cardinal Syn, another repeat, this time from issue 4 of volume 1. There are some different characters, but overall this demo is identical to that one. Go check out that video, it's for volume 1's Christmas disc. Now we're taking a look at the demo for N2O. This is a tube shooter, where the player controls a ship that can move across the walls and ceiling of the tube in order to shoot insects that drop special coins and power-ups. The gameplay gradually gets faster and faster as more and more insects are killed, and the insects will get stronger and more powerful the longer you leave them alive. At the end of each level, the coins you collected can be used to purchase better shields and more power-ups. This game can be played alone or cooperatively with a second player. The soundtrack for this game was composed by the Crystal Method, and the game disc doubles as the soundtrack CD. Give one of the levels a try in this demo. We're not done yet. This is the demo for Vigilante 8. Clearly inspired by Twisted Metal, this game is a vehicular destruction arena game. The variety in collectible weaponry for your vehicle is aided by the ability to perform special attacks, which each weapon can do by use of a combo-style button sequence. Each stage also has interactive features of its own, giving more incentive to explore each level. Secret vehicles and stages can be unlocked by completing specific objectives in the story mode. Reviews at release were decent. Many critics considered the game possibly even better than Twisted Metal, noting the game's graphics and controls. Try out a match in the oil fields level with either 1 or 2 players in this demo. Hey, we finally get a demo for Blasto. The evil alien boss wants to conquer Uranus and enslave space babes, so it's up to Captain Blasto to put a stop to all that. The game is a third-person action platformer. The gameplay itself is mostly just platforming, activating switches and shooting enemies. Possibly the most interesting thing about this game is Captain Blasto is voiced by Phil Hartman. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough for the game to receive mixed reviews on release. The game was considered unfair and tedious. The demo has you in episode 5. Don't forget that Blasto has a jetpack, like I did.
Yum, yum. You'll pay for that. Ow.
Round 1. Fight!
Last but not least, we have the demo for Tekken 3. Bringing improvements to the gameplay, graphics and controls over its predecessors, this makes Tekken 3 the definitive example of a near-perfect fighting game for the console. The game includes 2 new modes, Tekken Ball and Tekken Force, both bringing interesting new variations on the gameplay. This demo gives you 2 characters to try.
You win.
All that's left are 2 video previews. The first is for NFL Extreme.
Makes the catch. Number 7 ships it. Looks like a running play. Gets drilled by the defender. He really nails him.
The second is for Metal Gear Solid. Okay, let's wrap this up. We've reached the end of Issue 2, Volume 2. A lot of great demos and videos to be found here. Of course, there are also hidden secrets that can only be found by inputting the correct code in the correct place. But that's for another video. Want more PlayStation Underground? I got more videos on my channel. Want more demo discs? I got videos for that too. Subscribe if you want it all. I'm the Advocate, stuck in the 90s and I don't care.